Oh my, I'm feeling high. My money's gone. I'm all alone. Too much to see. Damn, I blanked out. The world keeps turning. Oh, what a day. What a day. What a day. Peace and blessings manifest with every lesson learned. And if your knowledge were your wealth, then it would be well earned. If we were made in his image, then call us by our names. Most intellects do not believe in God, but they fear us just the same. Sing, oh, on and on and on and on. My life it keeps moving like a rolling stone. Oh, on and on and on and on. All night till the break of I go on and on, on and on. My cipher keeps moving like a rolling stone. Oh, on and on, and on and on, and on, and on and on. Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome to the very first of many installments of the Ethereal. I've never learned how to pronounce that word. You get the damn. You see the title of it. It's up there. View, right? The ethereal view. I think that's how you pronounce it. Whatever. I'm gonna figure it out eventually. But yeah, welcome back to this newest installment of something creative and something new. Before I get into what I'm about to get into today, first and foremost, all thanks and praises be to the Creator for this gift, to the Creator for this opportunity, for this space, and to my ancestors for the guidance to do what I do and do what I do well. Um, this is a little bit different from introspective thoughts, right? So, on this side of things with the ethereal view, we're gonna do we're gonna get a little mystic around here. We're gonna get into some card reading. We're gonna get into a little bit of divination. We're gonna have a chat, right? We're gonna talk about some things to, make life a little bit better for you, right? We are headed into some times where things may seem very uncertain and very unsure, and under the guidance of my ancestors and spiritual team, and by the suggestion of several different people, I thought, why not use the gift that I've been given of divination, of mediumship, of intuitive reading, and you know share it with y'all, give it to y'all, allow y'all to grow and expand, and you know get what you need in order to get what you got to go. As the song said, get what you got until you got what you need. So, hey, give it a bridge now. I feel like busting loose. Okay, that's enough of that. We're right. As y'all can see, I'm very animated and I'm very musical. I channel a lot of messages through music. But whatever. So what this is going to be is I'm going to do a mix between tarot, oracle, and numerology readings, right? Um, and how this is going to work is that I'm going to give you the energy or the outlook for the month. And because this is the month of February, my birth month, by the way, um, we're going to start with here. We're going to start here, and we're going to start with the numerology based in tarot for the month, specifically based in the major arcana cards. And then we're going to go to the numerology deck that I have, which is a set of oracle cards that I use. And if you've seen my other show, Introspective Thoughts, me and Lady D Emerald did a reading that involved the numerology deck, right? And then we're going to go from there, and we're going to shift into the Trust Your Vibes, your Trust Your Sixth Sense vibes oracle deck as well, right? And so how this is going to work is that we're going to look at the major arcana of the tarot, and we're going to just give the overall general energy for what that month, what this particular month looks like. And again, with this being February, we're going to look at what their energy looks like, right? And then we're going to get into the numerology spell cards, or oracle cards, excuse me. And we're going to look at three things. We're going to look at your situation, we're going to look at your action items, and we're going to look at the outcomes of this month based on what was pulled and based on, you know, what the energy looks like for the month. And then we're going to go to the Trust Your Vibes Oracle deck. I know that's pretty, ain't it? Right? My cards are pretty as hell. Like, look at that. And then we're going to go into the Trust Your Vibes Oracle deck, right? And we're going to look at three different things. We're going to look at how to approach your situation, right? Or how to approach all of these things. How to transmute anything that needs to be transmuted, how to take what you have and make it better, right? This whole idea of alchemy. And then we're going to look at some pitfalls or some things that you probably should be doing that you ain't been doing that you need to get on ASAP. So that way you can make the best of the next 28 to 31 days, right? So just to give an idea of what that's going to look like. And you know, if you want to ever book a personal reading with me, my books are open and they don't close. I don't think they ever close. If you want a reading, hit me up, you know, drop a comment in the box below, or email me, or hit me up on Twitter at the chosen 2_1. And we can make that happen. Eventually, I'm going to be doing something special and doing some shamanic healing readings, but that'll be over on Patreon. You know, $5 to get you where you got. If you got 5 on it, you know, you put 5 on the gram, you know, which I don't know, 5, can you put 5 on the gram nowadays? Whatever. If you can put 5 on the gram, you can. $5 is gas money. If you got gas money, you can put a little something on the gas and get your life together. How about that? Right? Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So very first thing we're gonna start with again is, like I said, we're gonna look at the energy for the month. Like, what does the month of February look like, right? So, and again, I'm gonna be approaching that from the major arcana portion, as well as infusing numerology with this as well. So before we get into all of that, let's give a breakdown of what any of the hell of this shit is that I'm talking about, right? So first and foremost, the major arcana section of tarot, from my understanding of, because everybody has their own different understanding of what it looks like, right? From my understanding is your major life points, you know, your major action, you know, points of your life, right? And there's 22 cards ranging from 0 to 21, starting with the Fool and ending with the World card, right? And each card has their own meaning, has their own energy behind it, and talks about what is your major life point, you know, anytime it pops up in a reading, right? And some cards can represent, you know, some successes. Some can represent, you know, some pitfalls, some challenges, some power moves, like all those different things, right? And then the numerology aspect of it, numerology goes from the numbers 0 through 9. In tarot, they have their own meaning, going from 1 to 10, excuse me. But I also like to add the supreme mathematics standpoint. Shout out to the 5% Nation for your knowledge with that. But I like to take all of those different things and mix it and give a good energy read for the entire month, right? And so, first and foremost, you know, and we'll go through each one of the sets of numbers. We're not going to do that today because that could be its own video in itself about understanding the major arcana and understanding numerology from you know, the actual numerological side, as well as the tarot side, as well as the supreme mathematics side, right? But we're not gonna get into all that today because I know y'all got shit to do, and so I want to go ahead and get you what you need so that way you can get to where you got to go, right? Cool. So the very first thing we want to start off with is when we're talking about numerology. Again, like I said, we're talking about it from numbers 0 through 9. And then, of course, for those who study numerology more in detail, you have double-digit numbers that I consider your master numbers, which would be 11, 22, and 33, right? And how you get those numbers, most people use numerology in the sense of, finding their personal life path number. Like with mine, I'm a personal life path 8, right? And you take that by adding all of the numbers of my birthday and reducing them down to 1 digit, or if it's a master number, double digits, right? And so my birthday is February 19th, 1994. So you take 0 plus 2 plus 1 plus 9 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 4. You put all of those together, and I think that number comes up to the number 25, 26, I think. I can't math. Y'all, I'm a former social studies teacher. I don't math. So me trying to figure this out in my head ain't it. So whatever that boils down to, and then that number, then if it's 26, it should be 26. Then that number then reduces down to 2 plus 6, and that equals 8, right? And that's how you get to the number 8. And so then the number 8 has its own meanings, which again, we won't get into detail with, but we'll end up going through all of these numbers at some point in time before the end of the year anyway, right? And so what I want to start off with this year. So we are now in the year of 2021. I know a lot of folks was like, my God, 2020 was a lie. I didn't think we was going to make it. And it's understandable. It's a lot of stuff that happened. A lot of things took place in the year 2020. A lot of people, the veil was ripped. I mean, when you get 2020, unlike me, you get 2020 vision. Me, I ain't got 2020 vision. Now I do. I can see now, right? That's the whole purpose of 2020 is a lot of people are able to see things for what they are and not what they thought they were, right? And that is happening on a spiritual level, mental level, emotional level, physical level, financial level, from the government all the way down, right? It's a top-down type thing. And so what I want to start with is I want to start with the year 2021, right? And so like I just said, with birthdays, you add 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 1, you get the number 5, right? And so in numerology, the number 5 represents changes, represents shifts, represents things coming from where it once was to changing into something else, right? In the tarot aspect, it represents the same thing of, changes happening, major shifts happening. It may represent some conflicts that are happening. It may represent some shifts in finances, depending on the suit that it's in. It may represent, like I said, issues coming up, but again, depending on the suit that it's in. It may represent, you leaving out of a situation. But it all represents changes, right? And then from the supreme mathematics standpoint, it represents refinement, right? So you are taking what you have and you're shifting it or changing it to refinement, but also in that refinement is your power. And so from the major arcana standpoint, we have the Hierophant card, right? So I pulled from the Afro-Brazilian tarot deck. So a lot of my pictures on my cards are going to be a lot different from what you see on the standard Rider-Waite deck. But with this being a 5-year, we have the Hierophant card, right? And in the major arcana, right, the Hierophant represents, traditional institutions, right? It represents traditional values. It represents conformity. It represents any beliefs that you may have. It represents knowledge. It represents all of those good things, right? Think about your traditional aspects of family, traditional aspects of religion, traditional aspects of education, all of those different things, right? And so when you see the Hierophant card, 9 times out of 10 is telling you that, hey, you got to get to some tradition or get into some type of traditional way of doing things, or you need to examine the way that you do tradition, right? And of course, with everything that's going on in the world right now, you're more likely need to examine the way that you do tradition, because the way that we do things or the way that we used to do things, we've noticed that they have not been as, suitable for us, as far as trying to get stuff done, trying to move forward in life, trying to do anything, right? And so with this being the 5, this card is going to represent, what the foundation is or what the energy is for the year, right? Now, specifically for the month of February, February is the 2nd month of the year. It's a 2. 2s in numerology as well as tarot represents a balance. It represents a partnership. It represents duality, all those different things, anything that come in twos, right? That's what that represents. On the supreme mathematics side, it represents wisdom, right? Wisdom is knowledge applied. Wisdom is also knowledge is acted upon. Wisdom can come in many forms, but mostly it's in the form of knowledge being acted upon. In supreme mathematics, also it represents the divine feminine, right? Of the Holy Trinity. You have the Father, the Mother, and the Son of the original Holy Trinity. I know Christians are like, but the Holy Trinity is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. That comes from this. The Father, the Mother, and the Son. The Mother being the second, being the support of the Father and of the Son, right? And so with that being the case, for the month of February, you have the High Priestess card, right? Now, for me, I like to consider the High Priestess a bad bitch of the tarot deck, right? And when we talk about the High Priestess, anytime that you see her, High Priestess has to do with trusting your intuition. It has to do with trusting sensuality, trusting spirituality, looking at mystery, looking at things deeper than what they seem, right? And it also requires you to go in and look within self and look at things deeper for what they seem, right? And so the thing that I've said before, is a quote that I ended up writing in my grimoire one day that said, when you think you know, go look again. That's what she's talking about, right? When you think you are aware of things, go check that bad boy one more good time, right? And so when you take that and you put that with this Hierophant card, and we're having to go back and look at traditions, and we're having to go back and examine the way that we do things, and we have to go back and check the way, how has tradition helped us or hindered us, or what does that look like? This is telling us that once you think you know about tradition, go back and look at it one more time, because there's something in there that may be hindering you, that needs to be shifted, that needs to be changed, because it's no longer serving you and it's time for you to grow. Or you may need to be going back and looking at the way that you do things. You may need to put your feet 10 toes down in some tradition, because you all over the place, right? Either way, it's requiring you to go deeper within to find out more. Okay. Now, as I was saying earlier, with numerology, you take one number, you add it to another, you reduce it down. So 2 and 5, you get the number 7, right? And so the number 7 in numerology represents spiritual inclinations. It represents anything to do with the the rearrange, the revisit, the redo. It's all of that, right? It's in it, like I said, has to do with spiritual inclination. What does your connection look like to the Most High, to God, the Creator, Allah, Brahma, Source, whatever that looks like to you, right? Excuse me, my gosh. And from a supreme mathematics, man, I probably should get some water. From a supreme mathematics standpoint, right? Jesus. It looks like, how can I put this? It looks like God, right? The number 7 represents the number God, is the number of God. Going back to what I was saying about the spiritual inclination, right? And so when we talk about the number 7, God created the world in 6 days, and on the 7th he rested, right? There's 7 notes in the musical alphabet: A, B, C, D, E, F, and then G, or God, being the 7th note, right? And so anytime you see the number 7, you know God is somewhere in the vicinity, somewhere around you. God is somewhere. Okay. Now in the tarot aspect, the number 7, at least in the major arcana, is the Chariot card, right? And so the Chariot card talks about forward progression, talks about self-discipline, talks about hard work, talks about focus, talks about cutting through things, and being motivated to do so, and being ambitious in doing so, and getting to where you want to be. Now, this is not to say that, when you have the Chariot, you're not dealing with bullshit, but this is you zooming through the sky past the bullshit. This is, I'm Ray Charles to the bullshit. Or I would say Stevie Wonder, but there's some scandals or whatever out here saying that he can actually see. Tangent over. But with that being the case, right? when you take both of these cards, this High Priestess and this Hierophant card, when you go back and you know dive into that spirituality, and you go through and you look at how are things serving you or how they're not serving you, how you need to change them, and you taking the willpower of that and you're moving forward through that, you're cutting through the bullshit, right? What this Chariot card is saying, that for this entire month, that it's time for you to start pushing forward, right? You have victory and success even throughout out of all the stuff that happened to you in 2020, and maybe some things that happened to you, you know, this past month in 2021, not 2021, excuse me, in the month of January. All of this is saying that you have success, but it takes determination, willpower, and ambition to make that happen. Your success is guaranteed if you go back and you do the work that's necessary to get you to where you got to go, right? So that's what our energy for the month is looking like for the month of February. It's tapping into your intuition. It's tapping into the deeper mysteries and the realms of things, looking at traditions and the way things are done, and pushing through anything that doesn't serve you, because success is guaranteed to you if you power through the bullshit, right? So now with that being said, let's go to this numerology deck and let's see what the spirit team got to say about your situations, outcomes, and action items for the month of February. So before I do any reading, I like to, you know, pray over it so that way we all are on the same page, and, you know, everybody's minds and heart are clear before, you know, we really get into this bad boy, right? Because if you've had a reading from me before, you know, my folks don't spare no expense, and they don't spare nobody's feelings. They don't even spare my feelings. So, yeah, if this mug resonate with you and it hits you, it be the hits that stick like grits. I don't know what to tell you. You know, hopefully you heat the message in here, and you ain't got to get dragged no more. That's all I'm gonna say. So, dear Heavenly Father, Earthly Mother, Divine and Guided Spirits, we come before you now, asking for guidance as we pull cards for the situation, action items, and the outcome for the month of February. What do the people need to know in regards to what's getting ready to come through in the month of February? What are our action items for the month of February, and what are the outcomes looking like for the month of February as well? I speak blessings over all those that watch this video. May they find prosperity where they may be, because we all need it. These are many of the blessings I ask as if it is already done. Amen, Ashe, and Matu. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Let's start with the situation. What is the month of February really looking like? What we got coming for us? Let's see what they say today. Oh, something in there. Jump out at me. What we got? What we got? What we got? We'll take that one. Ha! I should have pulled that one from Jump Street. I seen that when I was shuffling. What else? What else is coming up? Coming up. Coming up. Coming up. What else? What's any other situations? Okay. What about our action items? What are our action items for the month of February? I see something coming. That one, cool. Interesting. And then what is our outcome for the month of February? What is February going to, how is that going to end? What is these last 28 days looking like? Ooh. Somebody finna be having fun. You do it right. All right. Let's see what they say. All right. So let's start with the situation first. So the situation, and I, again, should have pulled this card out when I first saw it, because as I was splitting the deck open and, you know, shuffling, I saw this one at least 5 times as it popped out, right? So the first card that we got is moderation, right? And with this moderation card is likened back to the, what card is that? The Temperance card in the major arcana of the tarot deck, right? And so the Temperance card talks about essentially is the word moderation, right? When we talk about temperance, we look at it from a historical standpoint, right? We had the women's temperance movement that took place back in the 1920s when prohibition was a thing, when they passed the 18th Amendment. and we were trying to put a limit on the sale of alcohol, in some states ban on alcohol, right? And reasoning being because a lot of people lost their everlasting shit by drinking so much alcohol that it caused that a lot of people thought that it was a cause for a lot of organized crime that took place, when really it was just folks just being shysty. That's just literally what that was. So this moderation card likens back to the temperance card in tarot, and the temperance card talks about literally doing things in moderation. And when you do things in moderation, you don't do too much of anything, you end up finding happiness, you find peace, you find joy, right? There's not a polar opposite of you doing a lot of one thing and less of another. There's moderation, there's balance, right? And so when we look at this card, right, these cards also not only have a number attached to them, which with this one would be the number 14, right? And so as we said earlier, we take these numbers and we look at them individually, and then we look at them as a whole. So the number 1 in numerology, and in tarot, but we're going to say in numerology since this is a numerology deck. The number 1 in numerology represents new beginnings, right? It's the start of something new, it's the start of a new cycle, new things happening in any type of realm, whether that be the spiritual, the ethereal, or the physical realm, right? And then the number 4 has to do with foundations and stability. Sometimes has to do with the home, may have to do with the finances, may have to do with, personal or emotional things. It can also represent, and depending on the suit in tarot, it can also represent, seeing things for what they are and not seeing things for what they are. It can represent, some people talking behind your back, or some people ready to pop off and say some stuff. It just depends on what it looks like, right? But from the supreme mathematics standpoint, right, the number 1 represents knowledge, and the number 4 represents culture and freedom. And so when we talk about knowledge, right, knowledge is the acclamation of, materials, that is the acclamation of gnosis. It's the knowing of something, is where you quote unquote know the ledge, right? Break the word knowledge down, you know the ledge, you know how far to go to do something before it's an issue, right? And with the number 4 representing freedom, both of those things can come together and bring you your moderation, or bring you to number 5, which is your power and refinement, with that 1 and 4 together, right? And so, or those changes that we've talked about earlier with the Hierophant card and the number 5 in numerology. And so when we talk about your situation and what's getting ready to happen for the month of February, a lot of you probably need to be finding balance, right? More so balance in the root chakra, which is what this red has to do with. It has to do with the root chakra, finding balance in, courage versus fear, right? Being grounded versus being all over the place, right? You have to find balance, but not only between the root chakra, but also the heart chakra, because the area in the space around you is in the space of love, is in the space of prosperity, is in the space of abundance. But if you don't have that balance in your root chakra, you're not going to notice where that abundance is, right? If you don't know the ledge of moderation in your root chakra, all of this green ain't gonna make a damn difference, right? And when you recognize the ledge, or recognize that you are off balance, or you may be off balance, and you are in alignment with everything, then you will find your balance, and you will be in your bag for moderation, right? And that may look like working with this High Priestess card, right? That may look like tapping into your intuition and listening to your body and listening to your intuition when it says move. Because a lot of us may have been getting intuitive guidance from the ethers, or from God, or from your ancestor, or from whomever that you believe in, right? But you ain't acted on it. And I'm preaching to myself with this one, so don't feel bad. But if you've been getting that divine guidance and you haven't moved on it, you cannot be surprised when the changes and the freedom that you seek. Again, 1 + 4 = 5. 5 is, is changes in numerology, and is refinement and power in supreme mathematics. You can't be surprised when you feel powerless. You can't be surprised when the things that you have been working on or try to work on have not grown, or you have not been refined, or you don't feel like you've been made anew. Because if you don't listen to source, or you don't listen to your intuition, your inner guidance, your inner G, INNER-G, you can't expect to be in alignment with the love and the abundance that's around you, right? So for the month of February, is to get back, to get balance, right? We talked about the number 2 being balance and being duality, right? It falls right in line with this card. Make sure you find what your balance look like. That if that means you need to go get grounded, this doesn't mean smoke weed and drink a lot of stuff. This means, meditate. This means take some time for yourself, get off social media, because it's a lot that's been going on in the past in the first month of 2021. A lot has happened. And if you are so caught up in what's going on in the world around you, and you are stuck in this spot of fear, and you're stuck in this root chakra, and you don't recognize that there's still abundance of love and prosperity around you, you're gonna miss out on a lot, and it ain't gonna be nobody's fault but yours, right? Now, what's interesting is, as I was pulling these cards, here are your action items, right? Your action item for the month of February is self-discipline. Now, what's interesting about that is, first and foremost, ain't this the opposite of this? I mean, color-wise and number-wise, right? They're the opposites, right? We have the literal same numbers, 1 and 4, new beginnings and foundations, and looking at foundations, right? Or knowledge and culture and freedom all coming together for changes, power, and refinement. We also have the same colors. You got your green here and your green here. You got your red here and your red here, right? So we're still working with this root chakra energy. We're still working with this heart chakra energy, right? We're still working with this being 10 toes down and being grounded. And we're also operating from a place of love and prosperity, right? The difference is with this self-discipline card, and I also find it interesting for another reason, but I get to that in a second. But the other thing that we find interesting with this self-discipline card is that around you, you may have a lot of negative energy going on around you. You may have a lot of heightened tensions going on around you, which, I mean, we did just have a attempted coup of the federal government that happened, 3 weeks ago at this point? And with all of that coming around, you still have to remember that if God dwells within you, that you got that abundance and prosperity within you. Don't none of this shit around you matter. But you can't know that or figure out what that looks like if you don't have self-discipline. What you mean by get self-discipline? Get your happy ass off of social media. I had to do that myself, y'all, where I literally am, only reason I am on social media is to promote this bad boy here, introspective thoughts, or any something else that I'm doing. But that took self-discipline. That took this stuff is hurting you. This stuff is bothering you. This is what intuition was telling me. This stuff is causing you to doomsday scroll. You out here trying to figure out if Agent Orange out here is gonna blow this damn planet up, or if Joe Biden is out here gonna blow this damn planet up. Either way, whatever side you on or whatever you believe or whatever, if you worried about that, that's the red. If you worried about all of this stuff, but you forgetting that you have that abundance within you, you can't expect to find success in anything you do. You can't expect to find forward progression. Essentially, what you're doing is you're being the passenger. You're, as TLC said, you hanging on the passenger side of your best friend's ride, trying to holler at them instead of taking control of your life. That's what self-discipline looks like. That's what moderation looks like, right? You can't get to moderation without self-discipline. You have to take charge of your life and the stuff that's going on within or around you, so that way you get to where you got to go. And again, I ain't doing nothing but preaching to myself on this, right? So with that being the case, this is your situation. We need some moderation. We need balance in order for you to get to your happiness, so you can see this abundance around you. But you need some self-discipline to be able to see that the abundance is already in you. You have everything that you need. in order to be successful, in order to be self-disciplined. But what is it that you're listening to? Are you listening to all this red, all this naysayer around you? Are you listening to the fear? Are you listening to your ego that's telling you that, oh, this shit ain't gonna work out for you? Are you listening to that, or are you saying, nah, fuck that, I'm gonna still get where I got to get? Because regardless of what anything happens to me, I know, for me personally, I know that I'm divinely guided and protected, regardless of what any motherfucker says. Do you hear me? Preach, Clark. I'm doing the best that I can. So with that being the case, that's your action item. And if you are actually trying to make something happen, you actually have to put in the work. As I've been saying a lot just this past week, faith without work is dead. But a man that don't work don't eat. You can believe on it all day long, but if you don't put no action behind it, you can't expect nothing to change. Kendrick Lamar says shit don't change until you get up and wash your ass. Until you recognize that your shit stink, you ain't gonna move. But you need to realize that your shit does stink. It don't smell like roses, like Outkast said. You got to get up and move. You got to get up, you got to do something different. A man that does not work don't eat. You don't put in the work, don't expect no harvest. If you ain't planting no seed, don't expect no harvest. You can't expect no success that's guaranteed to you by this month if you ain't listening to your intuition, if you ain't making moves like you need to do, if you're not going off of what your inner guidance, what your intuition and what God is telling you to do. Even if you don't believe in God, you have an inner guiding spirit that is telling you the direction in which you need to go. It's called your solar plexus. Let me sit up a little bit. It's right here. It's right over your stomach, right? That's where your intuition lies. When you get the butterflies in your stomach, or you be feeling like, something ain't right, that's your intuition talking to you. But you need to be self-disciplined enough to listen to that bad boy, because that mug is not going to ever steer you wrong unless you are sitting in your ego. If you are sitting deep, and I mean deep, in your ego, and you allowing it to talk, you allowing all of this in your ear, all it's going to do is repeat the same thing as here and here. So you need to get that out your way, get self-disciplined enough to get people out your way, move them out your way. What the Christians used to say, devil, get deep behind now, put them under your feet. Because if he behind you, he can talk in your ear. If he in front of you, he can lead you. If he beside you, he gonna walk near you. But when he under your feet, he can't do nothing to you. But it's up to you to get that self-discipline. Again, you can't expect something new to start, and you can't expect to get to your freedom, and you can't expect nothing to change. You can't expect it to sit in your power if you ain't got no self-discipline. That's not how that works. That's literally not how that works, right? And so your outcomes is, once you have listened to your inner guidance, once you have got your balance, once you have implemented your self-discipline, you can forward progress. But in all of that, you got to expect that an adventure is going to come with all of that, right? Peep them numbers at the top. Now, when we talk with numerology, 55 is not a master number, but anytime you see a double number, the original number is double that in influence. So we talk about 5, that being changes or shifts, and we talk about in supreme mathematics, that being power and refinement. Double what you got. 5 plus 5 equals 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So we back at start point again. So everything that I'm seeing thus far, February is new beginnings for a lot of people. Those new beginnings are also based on who you listening to. Are you listening to the bullshit outside of you? Are you listening to other people? Are you giving away your power to other things and people that ain't got a damn thing to do with you? Or are you listening to that inner guidance? Because when you listen to that inner guidance, that's where your forward progression is. That's you sitting in the driver's seat, and you are taking advantage and taking control over your life. And once you do that, you can expect an adventure to come, right? And so when you look at this card, you have the blues, the blues, right? Blues in color psychology represents justice. It can represent calmness. It can represent tranquility. As far as the chakras are concerned, it represents the throat chakra, and depending on how dark the blue is, it can represent the third eye, right? And so the third eye talks about, using their intuition is using your mind's eye to be able to see. So when people say that they have the idea of discernment or have the ability to discern things, to be able to see things for what they really are versus what you think they are, you're then able to see what you're giving your energy to. You're able to see how you're expending yourself. You're able to then be in the driver's seat, and you're able to control your life and go the way that you want to go. Now, with the throat chakra, that's all about speaking your truth. You speak truth to power, it can take you on a nice adventure, right? If you speak up for yourself, if you don't hold your tongue, if you speak with the power that worketh within you, you can expect that adventure to come. But it's all about being self-disciplined, and it's all about finding that balance, right? Okay. So for quick review, your situation is finding balance, find moderation. Can't do too much of one thing, too much of anything is always a bad thing. It don't even matter if it's a good thing. Too much money is greed. Too less of money leaves you broke. Your action items, self-discipline. You got to do the work. You don't do the work. Again, man that don't work, don't eat. Woman that don't work, don't eat. Trans man, trans woman that don't work, don't eat. That's just what that is. That's what they said. Like that, you got to put in the work. And when you put in the work, you can expect your success to come, because that's going to take you on an adventure. Now, where that adventure takes you, you can get in your favorite rocket ship, zooming through the sky with the little Einsteins. Where that adventure takes you, who knows? But when you got balance and you got self-discipline, you ain't got to worry about where the adventure takes you. All you got to do is strap yourself in, buckle up. And that's what that is. So now let's move on really quickly to the Trust Your Vibes deck, right? How this one is, you're going to get 3 cards. One of them's going to look at how do you approach this, which I'm pretty sure I've said a lot of different ways that you can approach this, but this always helps too. Talks about how you can approach this. Talks about how you can transmute whatever you have. So like if you are facing a quote unquote negative situation, and I say quote unquote because nothing is good or bad, it just is. The Bible tells you that. Spiritual scholars have said that. Life will tell you that, because that's part of balance. Easiest way to approach balance is to not apply the label of good or bad to anything. This is something that I was just telling a friend of mine today. When you say something is good or bad, you create a timeline based on that experience or that denotation of good or bad. So what do I mean? So if you're saying, oh, all of this stuff is that's happening in the United States is bad, you're then gonna see everything that happens outside of that looks anywhere near or similar to that as bad. Same thing with, if you say everything that's happening is good, you're gonna then see all of those different things as good, right? But if you just approach it and say it just is, then it really has no meaning. It literally just go right on past you. It has no meaning. Like it has nothing. It doesn't have power over you. It doesn't have control over you. And it doesn't, it doesn't impact you like that, right? So your homework, besides doing this, your homework is to go anytime that you find yourself doing something or you find yourself in a situation, try not to apply the label of good and bad and see how much your perspective on things changes. I guarantee you that. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Ooh, baby, this synchronicity right here, Jesus. How do we transmute this? Thank you for the first one. How do we transmute? What are we doing to transmute? I'll take that one. I like that. I mean, synchronicities are high today. And then what is the things that people need to be doing that they ain't doing that they probably should be doing, so they can't say that, oh, then nobody tell them. What we got? Talk to me. What we got? Thank you. All right. So the very first card, again, we talk about how to approach the situation, how to transmute, and what you ain't doing that you need to be doing, right? So the first card says, Escuche a su corazón, for my Spanish speakers out there, right? Now I said, oh, the synchronicity is high. Peep them numbers. So you can't tell me that this message wasn't necessary. That's all I'm gonna say on that. Cause sound like the month of February talks about it's looking like get your foundations together. Get what you stand on. Get your ideas, your beliefs, what you stand on, what you believe. Get your ideas of traditionality, or even if you're moving away from traditionality, what is it that you stand on? And whatever you stand on it 10 toes down. Can't nobody knock you off your square unless you allow them to. Can't nobody take your power unless you allow them to. Can't nobody do you like you do you. You teach people how to treat you. And people are going to do you dirty if you allow them to do you dirty. And that's just what it is. But whatever your foundation is, get on it, stand on it, and don't budge from it unless you say otherwise or unless intuition says otherwise. Right? So, as I said earlier, 44 is like 55. It is not a master number. However, you take the energy of that said number and you double it, right? And so in a numerological standpoint, I think that's how you say that word. You take the number 4, which has to do with your foundations, and you double it, which gives you the number 8. 4 plus 4 equals 8, right? And so the number 8 has to do with abundance. The number 8 is literally the infinity symbol flipped over vertically. Infinity symbol, number 8, right? And so the number 8 also, not only does it have to do with abundance, but it also has to do, and this is abundance like materially, this is abundance in finances, this is abundance in whatever forms abundance comes, right? But the number 8 also is if you've ever heard of the term, or if you've ever seen the Outkast album, The Love Below, it's a play off of the phrase as above, so below, which comes from the Hermetic principles, as above, so below, as within, so without. Meaning whatever happens on one level happens on another. Whatever happens up here happens on here. The best example that I can give of that is when you look at a piece of broccoli, if you have a active imagination like I do, it looks like a tree, a small version of a tree, right? That's all that is. When you look at if you look at the anime Attack on Titan, I don't know how y'all got into that anime. I was just like, this is a lot. This is too much for me. But Attack on Titan, they were giants. And then the smaller version of that was the people on the ground that they was eating, right? And so when you talk about the number 8, the number 8 also in supreme mathematics means to build or destroy. When you destroy something, you build it, you rebuild it on a solid foundation. If something is destroyed, it probably wasn't built on a solid foundation. But whatever you destroy, you build upon and you go from there, right? Because again, look at the number 8. It looks like a snowman. Again, active imagination, right? You build upon what you already have. But how you approach this message for the month of February is to listen to your heart. Escuchen a su corazón. How do we know? Because this card told you that. I told you that had to do with the heart chakra, right? I told you this green has to do with the heart chakra, right? I told you to listen to your intuition, right? So listen to your heart. You operate from your heart space. You operate from a place of love and not hate, from abundance and not fear or lack. When you listen to your heart, you open up your world to a lot of different things. And I'm only telling you that from personal experience. Okay? So listen to your heart, because your heart won't steer you wrong. If you find yourself, feeling like, is this my heart talking to me? Or is this, negative ego talking to you? Step outside of yourself and examine it as if you were talking to your friend. Right? And when I say step outside, I mean like literally physically imagine yourself and then take a step back. and have a conversation with self. If you wait about 5 minutes after you ask yourself a question, I guarantee you'll get an answer. I guarantee you that, right? So first things first, approach this. How do we approach all of this? Listen to your heart, because your heart is going to tell you everything you need to know. Second thing, as I said before, the synchronicity in this reading is high. Why? How to transmute is an aura cleanse, but most specifically, peep that number down there, number 32. Now, I told you before, twos represent balance, represents duality, all that great stuff, right? Now, threes in tarot can represent a different number of things. A three of swords represents heartbreak. A three of cups represents reunions and celebrations, right? A three of wands is, figuring out a direction that you're gonna go and going in that direction, right? And a three of pentacles represents learning from situations or starting a new apprenticeship, or you're learning in some way, shape, form, or fashion, right? A three in supreme mathematics represents understanding, right? When I talked about earlier, I said you have the Holy Trinity, you have the Father, the Mother, and the Son. The three is the Son. It's understanding. You have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. When you have knowledge, you have awareness of something. When you have wisdom, wisdom is knowledge acted upon. And when you have understanding, you understand the reason and the rationale you went through something in order to grow from there, in order to find your freedom, in order to find your power, in order to refine from there. Does that make sense? Now, with that being the case, you add both of those together and you get the number 5. Where else did the number 5 show up? For the year. Where else did the number 5 show up? Your situation and your action items. Where else did the number 5 show up? Your outcome for the month. Now, when we talk about aura cleanse, what this man doing, and what does this person, this man, woman, whomever this is, what they doing? They're sitting in a tub full of water. Now, you probably like, I'm not gonna sit in a tub in my field. Now, first of all, if you that dirty, that's a conversation that you need to have with yourself on why you that dirty. Okay, we already had a whole hullabaloo about certain groups of people not washing their legs or not washing their body because they think that if they just wash their hair, the soap gonna run down, it's gonna catch everything else. Now, if your skin color the color of mine, you know better, and when you know better, you do better. Okay, now what do we know about this aura cleanse? So now when we talk about an aura cleanse, this goes into a realm of spirituality, right? Call it spiritual bath. Now, many people have their own different versions of spiritual bath. Some people say to take it in cold water. I personally take mine in hot water because my muscles get tight when I hold on to certain energies, when I hold on to certain ideologies, or, and I need that energetic or emotional release and I struggle to do so. I use that hot water to relax all of that out, right? But also in my spiritual bath, not only do I do hot water, but I also put Epsom salt in it, right? Salt cleanses the body. It also cleanses the aura, okay? You can find a bag of Epsom salt at somebody's Walgreens or Dwayne Reed, or somebody's Walmart, Kroger, whomever you got around you. Get you a bag of Epsom salt. My favorite is the Dr. Teal's with the hemp, the cannabis hemp in it, because that mug has got cannabis hemp and I think eucalyptus in it, or it's got lavender or something in there. But I get it not because of the hemp in it, but I get it because that mug smells amazing and it is so relaxing. Like the oils in it is so relaxing. But salt is very cleansing. Salt is a alchemical tool used to cleanse things, right? But mostly it cleanses the body. You could run a bath water and put Epsom salt in it, and it literally will clean your body. I'm not saying that you don't need to scrub, because you definitely need to scrub, get that dead skin off of you. But it will definitely cleanse. Like, you'll notice, like, when you drain that water, you might see a ring around the tub. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I have myself at one point in time. I didn't realize I was that dirty, but it let me know that I was very spiritually dirty and I needed to get that stuff off of me. But I also put in some Florida water. Now, if you're not sure what Florida water is, Solange talked about it in her song Almeda, when she said, still can't be washed away, not even in that Florida water. Florida water is used to spiritual cleanse places and things. I use it to put it in my spiritual baths to add like a more deeper cleaning effect. It's like you adding bleach to a bucket of pine salt to some mop water. To me, that's what it's like, right? But in order for you to transmute all of these negative energies that have gone from all of the year 2020 and even in the first month of 2021, you need to cleanse your aura, because what you come to realize, and what I've come to realize, is that we tend to carry energy of a lot of different people, carry a lot of people's energy that's not ours. And it could be unintentionally, or you can do it purposefully, right? A lot of people may call themselves empaths, or they're highly spiritual people because they take on the energy of people around them. I'm one of them myself. I'm a very highly sensitive person, so which is part of the reason why I got the hell off of social media, because taking in everybody's thoughts and energy was messing with my head, but it was also messing with my spirit. And I had to do an aura cleanse. And when I tell y'all, when I did my latest aura cleanse, which is in January, I got out there tub and it felt like I had lost 40 pounds. Like literally, I felt lighter because I got all of that bullshit off of me. I got everybody else's bullshit off of me because it wasn't mine to hold and carry no way, right? And so you need the aura cleanse. And, my recommendation is to take one once a month, to refresh yourself. Now, if you find yourself getting, anxious and angsty and frustrated about stuff on a consistent basis, you might want to take them more frequently. Take one once a week. I was doing it at one point in time because I was taking on so many different people's energies, but I also wasn't releasing it. I wasn't meditating. I wasn't grounding myself. I wasn't practicing moderation. I wasn't listening to my intuition that kept saying, let that shit go. Right? So with that being the case, if you are looking for that power, right? If you are looking for that refinement, if you are looking for that understanding, if you're looking for that balance in self, you may need to cleanse your body, right? Transmute it, let that stuff go, take what you have and move yourself to a next level. But in order to do that, you got to release. You got to let some of this stuff go, right? Now, the last card that came up, right? And this is what you're not doing that you probably need to start doing, is sound check, right? Now, we're gonna start with the numbers like we've been doing with the rest of them, just to keep it, consistent. You know what the number 1 means. You know what the number 2 means. You put them together and you get the number 3, which again represents understanding in supreme mathematics. And in numerology, represents celebrations, can represent heartbreak depending on what you got going on, but it can represent the Holy Trinity. It also represents the Ascended Masters. It's also one of the numbers of manifestation. If you have heard about Nikola Tesla, he said that if you understood the power of the numbers 3, 6, and 9, you'll understand the power of the universe and of manifestation, right? Now, what is this mean as far as a sound check, right? Something that I said earlier is that I get a lot of messages through music, and you can see that through what's going on this card, right? What do I mean when I say I get messages through music, right? Give a prime example. So earlier this morning, I've, shameless candid moment, I've been awake since 2:35 this morning, right? And that's because a revelation came in and smacked me like somebody took a brick and threw it through my window. I shot up out the bed and it was like, whoa, gotta write this down ASAP, surely. And as I was getting the revelation, I was writing it down. The song Let It Go by Tony Braxton, no, Let It Flow, by Tony Braxton played in my head. And so if you've never heard of the song, the chorus goes, just let go, let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. Because everything's going to work out right, just let go, let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. just let it go, right? And what they told me is that a lot of the stuff that I've been holding on to for the past 365 days, I needed to let that shit go, because where I was getting ready to go, it had no place for me. It doesn't serve me anymore. But I had to let that shit go in order to understand that, hey, sometimes stuff don't work out right. But anytime something brings you pain, and she literally says this, I'm reciting her lyrics, but it things may not work out the way that you think they might. But anytime something brings you pain, don't be afraid to let it go. But I wouldn't have got that message had I not heard that song before. I'll give you another example. Those that know me, they know I grew up in the church, grew up Southern Baptist, missionary Baptist, went Kojic for like 3 seconds, and then came back to my Baptist roots. And one of the songs that caught my attention, well, two songs that caught my attention as of recently, right? One of them was Richard Smallwood's Trust Me, right? And that song caught me at a time where when I was down bad, I was in a very bad mental headspace, and it was just like, what the fuck is going on, right? And so what the part that caught me was the bridge, I think, where it says, I am that I am, I have all power, I will deliver if you'd only trust me. To me, that was coming straight from the creator itself. That was coming from my ancestors. You just need to sit back and trust that stuff is going to work out. And if you trust that stuff is going to work out, you do what Tony Braxton said, and you let that go. You let that hurt, you let all of that go, because it don't serve you, right? Another song that I heard was Kurt Carr. He was singing the song, Let Everything That Has Breath Praise. And he got to a portion where he repeated, he was like, I owe you praise. And I kept listening to that song for about 2 weeks straight, like nonstop. And I was like, why do I keep listening to this song? Come to find out, it's how I found out I could channel messages through music. Not specifically based on that song, because I've been knowing I can do it for a while, but because I knew that, I was like, hold on, I got to listen to this. And what I recognized is that when I kept saying, I owe you praise, I was like, I don't owe the Most High praise, because I give the Creator praise anytime I see me fit, right? Like somebody said, I don't wait till I get to church to shout. I shout at home. I put 10 on it, you know. I give an advanced praise. I put something on it. I put 5 on it, so that way I know that when it comes, you ain't even got to worry about me giving the glory for it, because I've already done so, right? But I kept listening to I owe you praise, I owe you praise, I owe you praise. And then it clicked to me. It was like, when was the last time you gave yourself some praise? When was the last time you turned, instead of you saying, I owe God praise, when was the last time you turned and looked in the mirror and said, I owe myself praise? Because I've been through a lot of shit. I've been through a lot of hell and high water turmoil, and I've been through so much. And yes, it was God that helped me get through it. But again, faith without work is dead. I believe that God was going to get me through, but I still had to put in the work in order to eat. And so at some point, we consistently give God and other people praise. We give the Creator, we give Allah, we give whomever you believe in praise, but we never take the time and give ourselves praise. And as I kept listening to it, I was like, no, I do owe myself praise, because I've done a lot. I've seen a lot, and I've been through a lot. And here I am still standing through it all. Right? So start paying attention to what you're listening to, good or bad. Because a lot of us listen to a lot of music, and then we unintentionally speak curses over ourselves. Right? A lot of us listen to music and we speak blessings over ourselves and don't realize it. Chloe and Halle did their well with their song Everywhere, where it literally, they open a song saying, I got money everywhere. It's just like the dude from Honda that said, where the money reside. You speaking blessings over yourself, but you can also unintentionally speak a curse over yourself. So one of the things that you need to be doing going into this month, right, is paying attention to what you listen to, paying attention to what you're hearing and what you're taking in auditorily, right? And listen to some music that is going to help you take you further and not harm you, right? Because again, if you're going on an adventure, you can't enjoy your adventure if you down on yourself. You can't enjoy that. That's just not possible. You can go on an adventure, you can start something new and go on your adventure, but you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to take it in and enjoy every aspect of it, right? So pay attention to what you listen to, right? Take you a aura cleanse bath. Again, get you some Epsom salt. Get somebody's Epsom salt. Soak in the tub of hot water and stay in that bad boy until you feel like it's time for you to get out. You'll know when it's time for you to get out. And also listen to your heart. And that's what you need to do. That's what you got to do for the month of February. Thank you for tuning in to this first installment of the Aethereal View. I hope this reading helps you and guides you through this month and sets you up for success. I'd love to hear how it helped you on the other side of this, on the other side of February. Leave comments in the comment section below. You can email me. You can do whatever you need to do. Just let me know how this works out for you, right? If you would like to get a personal reading, hit me up. Again, I'm on Twitter at thechosen2_1, or you email me and we get you set up. You know, I do these readings, you know, with the Trust Your Vibes deck. I do the Numerology deck. I have the Shamanic Healing deck. I have the original Tarot deck. And I also have a magical spell card deck, right? Each one of those offers different things. And it all depends on what you want and what you need. But whatever you need, we can get that. You just got to ask. Ask, ye shall receive, and we can make that happen. At some point in time, like I said, we will be doing shamanic healing conversations over on Patreon. Once I get that started, get that set up, $5 is all you need to get you where you got to go. And those conversations, oh, they really get in depth. If you thought this was in depth and you thought we got somewhere with this, oh, baby, what a read is going to come out on that. Okay? But with that being said, y'all remain blessed and empowered. Y'all keep your head up. May prosperity find you where you may be. May this reading find you where you are. May it be received with the best of intentions. I will see y'all next time on the Aethereal View. Amen, Ashe, and Mike too.